Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, I got to go speak to the Packers and Brett's last year there, and that was a big deal for me. I remember clearly, Coach McCarthy and Brett, I think, were the only two that knew on the whole team that I was coming in. It was in December. They tried to get me come preseason, and I was tied up. I couldn't make it. So they postponed it to December. They were getting ready on that Sunday to play LA, and there was about 2 feet of snow in Lambeau. That was my first time to Green Bay, first time to Lambeau. I mean, I was in La La Land. That thing is like a museum. It's so cool. But then getting to meet, a bunch of pro football players and Brett Favre for crying out loud. And then Coach McCarthy, and they both expressed how big of fans they were of the sport and me, which I was very flattered. But talk about a butt pucker. I'm in the kitchen at the hotel pacing because I'm about to have to walk out in front of this whole team and deliver some sort of a speech. And the security guard's just looking at me like, dude, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm fine. I said, I spoke to a lot of high school kids. I've never spoken to an NFL team before. I was kind of shitting my knickers, frankly. And he's like, oh man, they're a bunch of college kids. Relax. And the second he said that, the door flung open and I was supposed to walk out on the stage. And I walked out in the middle of the stage and I'm looking at all these kids sitting in this theater, basically. He's like, oh my God, he's right. They're a bunch of college kids. And I settled right down. And it's probably one of the better speeches I've ever given. But I got to have lunch with Brett that day. He was just climbing out of a tree stand to come have lunch with me. So immediately we connected because we're both hunters, we're both outdoorsmen. But I think what a lot of fans don't recognize, and a lot of football players don't recognize, frankly, is that football is a combative sport. It's contact, hard contact, heavy contact, body on body, every single play, but they don't look at it as a combative sport. And so we start working with ball players through Jay Glazer, who's the one who hooked me up with Mike McCarthy to be able to go and do that speech. Jay and I are great friends. And we kind of formulated, using combatives, using MMA and wrestling and Greco and all the things that are indigenous to MMA to make better football players. We started with Jaron Allen and Matthews and a whole bunch of these big name guys and getting them to look through the eyes of that fighter. You may have 10 other guys on the field with you, but you're keying off of somebody on that side of the line every single play. That guy better have the worst game of football he's ever had in his life, or you're not doing your damn job. And their eyes get big when you say that to them, and they don't look at the sport as a combative sport, and it absolutely is. So teaching them how to hand fight, teaching them how to make everything violent and painful, and learn the little nuances, nooks and crannies, and ridges and bumps in the human body to manipulate a guy, to get him out of position, to be able to execute that tackle or make that hole for that running back to get through. Linemen and linebackers and those are the guys we want to get our hands on for sure. But we've actually gotten to work and gotten a ton of questions from quarterbacks, wide receivers, some of those technical positions that you don't really think of as being in the trenches in that combative sense. That was a big day for me, certainly, to speak in front of Brett and in front of that team.